All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 61 of the Dear Herbalist podcast, titled The Herbalist Guide to Fibromyalgia. Now, I decided to talk about this topic tonight because I've ran across several people who are battling this disorder or this dis-ease. And so I thought I would turn on my research hat and dive deep and get some information for those out there who might be struggling with this. So bear with me this evening. I have a lot of information for you as always. Make sure you have your pens, pencils, notepads, and all of that. And let's get into it. What is fibromyalgia? Fibromyalgia is a chronic disorder characterized by widespread musculoskeletal pain, fatigue, and sleep disturbances, often accompanied by memory and mood issues. It affects the way the brain and the spinal cord process painful and non-painful signals, amplifying, obviously, painful sensations. The condition is more prevalent in women and can affect people of all ages and racial backgrounds, although it typically begins in middle age. Fibromyalgia is associated with chronic fatigue syndrome, sleep disturbances, phosphorus buildup in tissues, sensitivities to chemicals and environmental factors, as well as persistent infections from viruses, bacteria, or even parasites. In the United States, fibromyalgia is estimated to affect between 1 in 50 to 1 in 25 people. This suggests a significant number of individuals are living with the condition, although exact figures can vary due to the differences in the diagnostic criteria, as well as awareness. So let's look at some of the underlying causes. The exact cause of fibromyalgia is not fully understood, but it is believed to involve a combination of different factors, one of them being environmental triggers such as infections, physical trauma, or significant psychological stress, which can contribute to the onset of fibromyalgia. Also, any abnormalities in pain processing pathways in your brain and your spinal cord have also been identified, which can lead to increased sensitivity and pain. Additional factors such as sleep problems, stress, and potential immune or endocrine system issues have also been suggested as contributing to the condition. The reality is that fibromyalgia is a complex condition that impacts individuals on a variety of different levels, including the spirit, soul, and the body. These areas are interconnected and they influence each other in various ways. Now, before we get into these various ways that fibromyalgia is kind of interconnected within these systems, I wanted to bring to your attention, I talked to you guys about before, the Merrick Manual. Now, this manual is a book that is for, I guess I should say, medical doctors. It's for the medical community, for them to be able to go to this book, and it's Merrick Manual, MERCK. They are available. It's available online, or you can just buy it wherever these books are sold. So in the Merrick Manual, they give you a little bit of information about what fibromyalgia is and all of that. But then it also gives you the treatment plan that they tend to recommend for clients. So let's look at some of this. So the treatment they're recommending is stretching and aerobic exercise, local heat and massage, stress management, tricyclic antidepressants or cyclobenzaprine to improve sleep, and non-opioid pain relieving medications. Okay, these are medications that do not contain opioids. They are commonly used to manage mild to moderate pain and inflammation. All right, so if you look at what they're recommending, a lot of stretching, exercise, local heat, stress management, some drugs to help you go to sleep, and some pain relieving medicines. What this tells you is that there are, safer options. And this is an issue, fibromyalgia, this is an issue that can be addressed. This is an issue that can, with herbal remedies and a variety of other methods that can be healed. So this, when you get diagnosed from a physician saying that you have fibromyalgia, please don't run to, oh my gosh, this is the end of the world, it's over. That is not the case. So let's look really quickly at the areas that are interconnected and how they influence each other in terms of fibromyalgia. So let's start with the spirit. All right. Spiritual needs and coping. So clients with fibromyalgia often have spiritual needs such as seeking inner peace and forgiveness, which can impact their mental health. Spirituality can serve as a coping mechanism, potentially improving mood as well as emotional well-being, although it may not be directly to alleviate pain. In traditional Chinese medicine, fibromyalgia is seen as a disharmony of the spirit, where the free flow of energy is obstructed, leading to pain. This spiritual disharmony can manifest as a constriction of self-expression as well as emotional energy. Let's look at the soul. Fibromyalgia is associated with high levels of negative affect, including sadness, fear, anger, and guilt. These emotional states can exacerbate physical symptoms and contribute to a cycle of chronic pain and emotional distress. Let's look at emotional and psychological factors a little bit deeper. So, individuals with fibromyalgia often experience difficulties in emotional regulation, which can mediate the relationship between fibromyalgia symptoms and psychological distress. This difficulty can exacerbate symptoms and contribute to a cycle of chronic pain as well as emotional challenges. There is a significant association between fibromyalgia and trauma, both physical and emotional. Trauma can alter brain structures and neural pathways, affecting pain perception and contributing to symptoms like cognitive impairment, sleep disturbances, and fatigue. Emotional trauma appears to be more commonly linked to fibromyalgia than physical trauma. Clients with fibromyalgia have impairments in recognizing and regulating their own emotions and in understanding others' emotions. This can impact their social interactions as well as their overall health. Now let's look at emotional health and fibromyalgia. So as far as the stress and emotional burden, these can exacerbate fibromyalgia symptoms, leading to flares. So the chronic pain and fatigue associated with fibromyalgia can leave individuals emotionally drained, sometimes leading to isolation and difficulty maintaining normal social interactions. A significant portion of individuals with fibromyalgia report experiencing anxiety and depression, which are both linked to chronic pain and lifestyle limitations imposed by the disorder. Understanding these emotional connections is really crucial for managing fibromyalgia effectively. I can't stress that enough. With Herbalists, we understand the spirit, soul, and body of it all. And so we can't look at fibromyalgia as just the physical. We have to incorporate all aspects of the person's life because the body is crying out. And you can't see that on an MRI or a CAT scan or through blood work. You can't see these things, right? So this is the reason why we need to know as herbalists the spirit, the soul, and the body. Look at it from the totality of the person. All right. So addressing both physical and emotional aspects can lead to better overall outcomes for our clients living with this condition. Now, let's look at some psychiatric comorbidities. Now, there is a high prevalence of psychiatric disorders such as anxiety, depression, as well as post-traumatic stress disorder among fibromyalgia patients. These conditions can worsen the clinical profile and impact the patient's quality of life. So you want to be able to look at, is there anxiety there? Is there depression there? Is there post-traumatic stress disorder? And again, some herbalists may say, look, I'm not a social worker. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. Well, you don't have to be, but guess what? The reality of it is that our clients come to us, they have those types of issues. Now, am I asking you to step into those roles and go beyond what you're qualified to do? No, but you do need to know what they're dealing with so that you can make some recommendations, right? It's very important. Now, let's look at the physical symptoms. Let's look at the body. Fibromyalgia is characterized by widespread musculoskeletal pain, fatigue, and cognitive impairments. These symptoms are often accompanied by other conditions such as irritable bowel syndrome and chronic fatigue syndrome. Physical symptoms can be intensified by emotional states. For example, stress and negative emotions can actually increase pain perception and lead to further functional limitations. By understanding fibromyalgia through these interconnected categories, patients, as far as from doctor's standpoint, but as far as us clients' standpoint, and herbalists, we can develop a more comprehensive and effective plan and strategy. Because by the time they come to us, they're probably in a lot of pain, mentally, physically, emotionally. So we want to be able to have the solutions, but we first got to understand, and we can't just look at it from one angle. There's the physical aspect, but then we have to also flip around and look at the mental aspect and the emotional aspect and how we can help. So let's look at the solution. I talked to you a little bit about the problem. Let's go ahead and talk about the solution. Now, to manage fibromyalgia effectively, you have to have a multifaceted approach. This is very important. Herbal treatments encompass a variety of plants that can impact your musculoskeletal system, and this includes your joints, your muscles, and your ligaments, as well as your immune system and your hormonal functions. So you want to look at herbs such as adaptogens and general tonics because these are very important for enhancing overall vitality and strength. Anti-inflammatory herbs are particularly important, especially those that target fibrous tissues. So when you hear us talk about herbs that have an affinity for a particular organ or affinity for a particular system, this is really why. You really want to target the area that has the issue if you really want it to work. So in addition to controlling symptoms, you can also look at antiviral and antiparasitic herbs. You can also look at herbs that boost your immune system as well as support your liver, because it has been said that at the root of fibromyalgia, you might also see a viral infection or a parasitic infection as well. So this is the reason why you kind of want to hit it from all angles, because you just don't know. The other thing is that you want to boost your immune system during this time because you want it to help fight off the infection, as well as support your liver, which is very important as it takes on that toxic load as you are using herbs to help get rid of the toxins and the other issues that are going on in the body, right? So let's look at, I talked about some herbs. Let's go ahead and look at some herbs that can help. So get your pens and paper out. If you already have, you probably already got it out. I know y'all do. I know you do. All right. So let's talk about astragalus. Now, astragalus, okay, improves immune function of spleen and your thymus, as well as your energy. It promotes resistance to sickness, infection, and it helps tone your liver. It also resolves degenerative disease from chronic physical and emotional stress. So you want to have astragalus in your arsenal to help yourself or your clients. The next one is black cohosh. This relieves spasms of large muscles with stiffness, twitching, and jerking. It's anti-inflammatory for sore, heavy muscles, electric pains, and numbness. It also helps balance underlying hormonal problems that are often related to PMS or menopause. So that's another one. Another herb you want to look at is burdock, okay, Articium lapa. This is a liver herb tonifier and stimulating detoxifier, which will help fibromyalgia. It will drain your lymphatic system and promote excretion of toxin and cellular waste. It also, like I said before with black cohosh, it improves your hormonal metabolism in the liver and acts as a mild laxative to kind of help keep those bowels moving, which is very important. The next herb I'm going to recommend to you, and it's no stranger to most people. It's called curcumin. It's often found in turmeric. Now, curcumin has a strong anti-inflammatory for pain and swelling in muscles and joints. And I know some people are like, well, I got that from the grocery store and it really didn't help me. Well, maybe you shouldn't have got it from the grocery store. Try to find it as potent as you can. Okay. If you have an Indian grocery store near you, or if you can order something online, do that. But, sometime in grocery stores, you just really don't know. Is that really turmeric or is it something else? It's really hard to know. So just make sure that if you have turmeric, that it is potent. Okay. It has strong antioxidant properties, which bind free radicals and prevent cellular damage. And it's often combined in formulas with bromelain for increased effectiveness. So bromelain, you can also find that in pineapple. The next herb we'll talk about is called feverfew. This decreases pain and inflammation symptoms of fibromyalgia. It reduces the incidence and frequency of migraine headaches. It is anti-inflammatory as well, and it has an action similar to COX-2 inhibitors such as Celebrex. For those of you that are taking that, consider feverfew instead. And then ginger is also a potent pain reliever, anti-inflammatory, immune stimulating, herb. It is superior to NSAIDs in relieving muscle pain, swelling, and stiffness. And it also helps with gastric ulcers, headache, nausea, and weak digestion. So it has a lot of things. And then last one, there's a lot of them, but the last one I'm going to give you is kelp, okay, or bladderwrack, for those of you who've probably heard that term before. But kelp provides organic iodine for strengthening your thyroid and various trace minerals for strengthening your cells. It reduces swollen lymph glands. It's also anti-inflammatory and is traditionally used to relieve rheumatism. So consider kelp. And then one more thing. I think I'm going to go ahead and give you this other one, licorice. So licorice improves adrenal function, energy levels, and immune system function. It supports your cortisol levels and the body's natural, it supports cortisol levels, the body's natural anti-inflammatory hormone, and it's healing. It'll soothe your irritated mucous membranes. So those are some of the herbs that you can look to use for people or for yourself that would be dealing with fibromyalgia. Now make sure in the program that you recommend or the protocol that you put together that you include nutrition, all right, as well as helping them to address or recommend places where they can go to address their mental health issues that could arise. Now, some people, they don't want to seek out help. Some people, they don't want to even talk about it. And, it's okay. You don't want to force people to talk about their issues or whatever, or, talk about their issues. But you want to be able to also provide an ear, because sometimes people just need to talk. They just need to get it out of them. Whatever's been suppressed deep down inside of them, they just need to get it out so that their body can stop keeping score, as the book says, right? Take a look at these herbs. Look at the chemical properties. Always, always, always ask your clients or even check with yourself if you are taking medications. If you say, hey, my doctor said I'm taking this medication, you need to know that before you recommend any herbal protocol, because you don't want any negative impacts or effects that could exacerbate your client's situation. So look into each and every medication they're taking. I kind of gave you some from the Merrick Manual of the typical drugs that they would prescribe people. Now, there may be more. There's probably a lot more. But just understand that you don't need all that. Okay? You don't need all that. Mother Nature has the answer. The Most High has given us plants. He's given us the ability to speak to Him, to seek Him, and to cast our cares upon Him. For those that believe, for those that don't, hey, I don't know what to tell you. But for those that do believe, He's given us an open door to have a conversation with Him and to be able to lay our feelings, our emotions, our deep-seated hurts and pains, those things that we can't talk to everyone about or we're too embarrassed about. We can come lay them at the feet of the Most High, and we can get delivered from that, and we can release all that and heal that aspect of us, and then do the natural things for our bodies taking the right herbs to help cleanse and restore our systems. And then, of course, eating the right foods and not eating junk and processed foods and things like that that will exacerbate our conditions. So if we hit it from every single angle, we will be what they call in a state of health. So in today's episode, we have explored the multifaceted nature of fibromyalgia, which is a chronic condition marked by widespread musculoskeletal pain, fatigue, and sleep disturbances, along with potential memory and mood issues. I talked to you about how fibromyalgia affects the way the brain and the spinal cord processes pain signals, which amplifies painful sensations. And I also highlighted its prevalence in the United States, which I said it impacts between 1 in 50 to 1 in 25 people. We also looked at the possible underlying causes of fibromyalgia, including environmental triggers and abnormalities in pain processing pathways. So that's the other thing that I would say as an herbalist to study. Study the pain processing pathways, because people that have chronic pain, you'll need to know where is it located, how is it there, which processing pathway is actually being blocked, and what herb and what chemical could you use from the plant to be able to clear those pathways so that those sensors and signals can move as necessary. All right, so that was just a little side note. But we also talked about tonight how fibromyalgia has an impact on the spirit, soul, and the body, and we emphasize the interconnectedness of these aspects. Understanding the spiritual, emotional, and physical dimensions of fibromyalgia is very, very important and crucial for effective management. And like I said before, to tackle fibromyalgia, I stress the importance of a multifaceted approach. Not just looking at it from, address the symptoms, but you want to look at it from all parts, particularly addressing it with herbal remedies instead of the other route, which sometimes I have to be careful saying, right? But herbs that support the musculoskeletal system, your immune system, as well as hormonal balance are very important. So looking at herbs that have adaptogenic characteristics, anti-inflammatory actions, antiviral and antiparasitic herbs, all of these different types of actions are very important that the herbs have. And you want to focus on enhancing your liver health, because all of these contribute to not only managing the symptoms, but also to improving your overall health and vitality, which is what we want. So if you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. Forward this information to anyone that might be dealing with fibromyalgia, or someone, or yourself. Let me just say that. How about that? If you're dealing with it, forward this information to yourself. Sorry, y'all, it's a little late. I'm getting goofy. But forward that information to anyone that you feel that it would help them. It would be a blessing to them. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at the demystifiedherbalist@gmail.com, or Facebook, or Instagram, or X. I need to post more on X. So if you're on X and you're like, I don't see her that much, forgive me. I'm working on getting this social media and all this other stuff. I have so much that I want to share, but I'm also trying to navigate social media as well. I'm not even on TikTok, and somebody got on me. If you're listening to my podcast, you know who you are. Got on me about not being on TikTok. So I'm working to get there so I can give you small spurts of information. So be patient with me. I'm working this thing out. I'm learning. I just love talking to people. I love sharing what the Most High has given me. So we just gonna make it do what it do. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for support. I read all of your comments. I appreciate it. I love talking to you all. Stay encouraged out here. I know the political climate is crazy right now. I try not to tap into that stuff, but like I said in my post, you don't go cutting your family members off, or people that really care about you, or those that are really going to be there for you when stuff hits the fan because somebody has a different political view than you. Stay strong, stay together, one love. And in that, I'm out, family. Bye-bye.